Morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee and Cloud Native. My name is Adrian Goins. Every night, I and my army of bots scour the internet for news and content related to Kubernetes and Cloud Native, and every day you'll find me here to share it with you. Now, not all of it, just the bits that I find interesting. It's a curated list of content. I go through around 200 submissions every night, and I select just a handful of them for the next day's show. These are tools that I would use. These are tools that I might use, think that are cool. Honestly, there's so much stuff, we just can't each use it all. So collectively, we can. If you're watching live on Twitch, click the follow button. If you're watching in the future, click the thumbs up button on the video. If you're watching on YouTube, smash the whatever button. If you're, just do what you gotta do. There is live chat. Live chat happens everywhere, but really the best place to go for live chat is the Discord server, which I don't even have up. So join Discord, it's free. There's something that'll scroll across the bottom of the screen in a second, and you can come hang out with all of us. And that is one of the places that the conversation continues after the stream ends. The other is the free community site, so come join that too. All right, we have so much to talk about today. But first of all, let's say hi to people who are in the chat. Let me join the right channel. Good morning, Ian, WifeBot. Steve, nice to see you, sir. Dun, 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 dun. Oh God, there's more people. I have to scroll down, not up. Wonderful. Mac, hello. Ian drinking Yorkshire tea. Tea and Cloud Native. Doesn't quite have the same ring, but that's cool. I used to really like PG Tips tea. We don't really get good tea down here in Chile. Scion X, good morning. Vito, Frank, wow, we got so many people here today. Restreambot's back online. Thank you, Restream, for hooking us up. All right, so real quick, people are talking about ads this morning. You shouldn't be seeing ads on my streams because I don't have them running. But if you have an Amazon Prime account, and thank you to all of you who were talking about Amazon Prime this morning because you reminded me of this. You can actually, for free, pick one Twitch stream that you want to support for a month. And so you could pick mine if you aren't already picking somebody else. You can change it every single month, but if you have an Amazon Prime account and you're not already pledged to a particular streamer, if you could go join Twitch and there's like a Prime link, I don't know, figure it out. I don't really actually even know where, but click the thing that says whatever, and that would really be great to get your support. The end. Actually, you know what? You might go and do that, and you might not be able to because I haven't actually registered as a Twitch affiliate. Let me do that. We'll come back to this. So, Adrian Grimshaw. Wow, there's so many people. Let's start talking about stuff. First of all, I have been talking to more people from VMware. Everybody that I talk to from VMware is actually really nice. So thank you to all of the VMware people who are really nice. Because I've had some experiences with some people at VMware who were not nice. That kind of framed my opinion of VMware, but I recognize VMware is a big company and there are a lot of people over there who just do really good stuff. And we are all in this community together. So probably, I don't know, it's not like there's gonna be a gang fight if we run into each other at KubeCon or anything like that. Though there is one individual that I would love to have a UFC cage fight with. I'd probably lose. Anyway, there's a webinar coming up a masterclass on how to use Rancher to provision Kubernetes in vSphere. Now, if you're using vSphere, you're probably playing around with Tanzu and the various things associated with Tanzu, especially since the latest update to vSphere, whatever, 7.1, gives you free access to things that used to be really expensive. But if for whatever reason you want to try something else, Rancher deploys Kubernetes in vSphere just fine. Choice. Choice is what's important. The freedom to decide what's best for you. This is happening on November 3rd. It's free. Come check it out. Oh, okay. This is interesting. Oh my gosh. Is it? WifeBot, did you just post, what is that, bad? It's better than posting like scenes from the Warriors. Wifebot, are you having another GIF war with Nuno? Okay. Back to, oh, okay. I can't even look at the chat. There's like madness going on. There's stuff happening over in European Union about privacy that is, I guess it makes a lot of sense if you live in Europe because you're kind of immersed in it, but from outside of Europe, I don't know, it's really hard to keep up with it. So GDPR, okay, we all got on board with that. And so the Schrems, whatever, the European Court of Justice ruled a while ago that safe harbor didn't apply. And then in July, they ruled that the Privacy Shield Agreement does not provide adequate protection of PPI under the GDPR. And so basically what this means is that if you store data for European Union citizens in a facility outside of the European Union, you can get totally ruined. But what's curious about this Schrems 2 thing, and this popped up in the context of some other conversations that I've been having around stuff. That wasn't super specific at all, was it? This is interesting. This basically means that you can't use US company cloud provider services in the EU and have that qualify. So you can't store your stuff in an AWS facility or a Google data center in Germany, for example, or Ireland or wherever. You have to use EU-based cloud providers, which I thought was really interesting. Obviously, you don't have any EU cloud providers that rank up there with the amount of distribution in the global network of somebody like Amazon or Google, but you do have good cloud providers. So what I would like for you, my audience, to do, or if you are in the chat, and you're in the European Union, is start telling me which cloud providers you would recommend. There was one that I used over there called Cloud Sigma, who is absolutely terrible, and they're absolutely terrible. And I hope that they don't pop up in the list. If so, I'll tell you some of their terribleness in a private chat. Okay, so I see stuff coming in. Scaleway, Hetzner. I see Hetzner pops up a fair bit. Vito had the article yesterday on doing migrations from Hetzner to DigitalOcean. The interesting, so I'm going to say interesting a lot. The reason behind this appears largely to be about coercion of US companies. So if your stuff is in an AWS facility in the European Union, Amazon is still a US company, and US law enforcement can still say, give us all your stuff. And they have to comply. And they can say, give us all your stuff and don't tell anybody about it, or we'll put you away forever in a deep, dark hole called Guantanamo. And they can't tell anybody about it. And so the privacy stuff that's going on in the EU, good morning, CT, is really good conceptually. I just watched Snowden again the other night, and one of the things that he actually said is that the thing he fears the most is that he's going to release all this information and nothing's going to happen. And that's basically what happened. You know, all of this information came out that said the US is doing bad stuff about surveillance, and people cared, but nothing happened. So I see a lot of this stuff coming out of the EU as a larger way of saying we're just going to make sure that companies have to comply, otherwise we're just going to sue them into oblivion. Two things out of this. One, shoot. Two, one popped into my head and it was really important. Darn it. Okay, two, if you are using anything like, HubSpot, or even if you're a small business and you have any type of PPI around European Union citizens, you need to look into this. This is important. Now, this article itself, it gives a non-legalese introduction into the Schrems 2 ruling, and then it goes on to talk about actually like what you can do about this. And it talks about how Kubernetes itself is, specifically multi-cloud Kubernetes, is a way that you can, as a smaller company, move your stuff around and have flexibility. He also lists here all of these, in the left column, the cloud provider services, and then CNCF alternatives. Super cool. And hey, OpenFaaS. And then so Kubernetes is an enabler for GDPR compliance. Darn, the other thing I was going to say was really important. And when it comes back to me, I'll have to just post it in the community site. Read this. This is no joke. It's no joke. Okay, moving on. Does anybody still make network diagrams? Like, do you still draw stuff so that you understand where things are? It's hard. You're like, oh, it's in the cloud. Like you have the cloud icon and it's like, yeah, it's just up there. It's, whatever, there's some pods. Ryan wrote an article that talks about some number of, I don't remember how many, 10, something like that, of tools for doing network diagrams. By show of hands, use my left hand here so you can see, by show of hands, who remembers Visio? Tell us in the chat. Visio, right? The best tool for making network diagrams in 1999. Who remembers how stupidly expensive Visio was? Yeah. Okay, so draw.io is the one that I use when I need to draw things because there's browser plugins. If you use Atlassian's products, like whatever that thing is, Confluence, there's a plugin directly for that. So you can just draw stuff and have it go right into your wikis. Draw.io is free and is great. And he lists a bunch of others here. For some reason, you don't like draw.io. So Lucidchart, Cloudcraft, some of these are paid. Some of them have a free version up to a small number of things. He goes through the pros and cons. Oh my gosh, OmniGraffle? Wow, I remember OmniGraffle. He goes through the pros and cons of each of them and gives you enough information that you might choose which one you want to use. I really like articles like this because any tool that I'm using today could be superseded by some feature in another tool tomorrow. We're no longer in a universe where we have to pledge allegiance forever to our one thing because there's just so much. I mean, that's why this show exists, is to share with you just how much stuff is out there. I'm thinking of having an addendum, an appendix. I don't have an appendix anymore. I got that taken out. I'm thinking of having like a deep dive, maybe once a week, where I pick something of the 50 things that I discussed earlier in the week and I actually install it. I was playing with that last night. I had some spare time after putting together the show data, and I went in straight down a yak shaving hole. I installed Oxygen mail server, and I was like, well, if I need a mail server, I need to have some sort of way to do egress gateway so that the mail server has a fixed IP. I can't do that with Cilium yet, though there is a feature that says that's coming. So what if I want to build a new Kubernetes cluster? Should I use MicroK? Should I use K3S? Should I use RKE? Should I use etcd? Can I use a 2-node Percona cluster? How much does that cost with DigitalOcean? And like an hour and a half later, I'm still sitting there with my head in my hands and I've totally re-architected this thing. And I'm like, oh, and I have to go to bed in 10 minutes. So nothing happened. I did install Oxygen though. It's very cool. If you'd like to see, if you think that would be a cool thing, maybe a live stream of it or a prepared show, maybe something like, the Kubernetes version of what Marcus Brownlee does, let me know. I'd like to take this and actually expand some of it into stuff because honestly, I'll tell you a secret. It's the only way I'm gonna actually get it deployed because I don't have any time. But if I make time, maybe it'll happen. Let me know what you think. Don't tell anybody. Shh. Oh my gosh, the chat stopped scrolling. There's so much going on. Okay. What was this? Oh, I'm like, why do I have a tweet up? Because this pull request is for to merge 11,000 lines of code for dual stack IPv4 and IPv6 in Kubernetes. And, oh, hello, little Joker GIF for you. This was merged 2 days ago. It's coming, ladies and gentlemen, dual stack IPv4 and IPv6 in your Kubernetes cluster. It won't mean anything to me because, well, I guess it could mean something to me. This entire country in which I live doesn't recognize that IPv6 matters. You can't get it. I don't understand that. It makes me sad. I really want IPv6. I was doing work with IPv6 when I lived in Poland, and also when I lived back in the US after that. I love IPv6. I love the complexity of it. I love how when you get it deployed and it's working and it's just awesome. But I do actually have a static IP now, so I could go with the Hurricane Electric IPv6 tunnel. I'm sure that'll be super low latency. Yeah, I don't know why you can't get IPv6 in here. Uh-oh. People are saying the stream's having an issue. Hang on. 1 second. My display over there went away because for some reason macOS Sidecar doesn't reliably stay connected to my iPad. Hold on. Oh my gosh, I lost my mouse again. Okay, so now it's fine on YouTube. Okay, people are saying it's fine now. Yeah, I'm still streaming at full bandwidth, so it's not me. It's not me. I'm gonna put that window over here so that it stays in my view. Okay, moving on. Yes, IPv4, IPv6. Oh, I already switched to the next. Wait a minute. Now it's just wallpaper. Mimo crashed. Well, you don't like my wallpaper? That's like, that's my new plan. My new plan is to live stream wallpaper. Oh my gosh, you guys and your jokes are, you kill me. You kill me. Okay. Adrian Cockcroft wrote, well, actually, Jennifer Riggins wrote an article about something that Adrian Cockcroft wrote or said, or I guess, so he had a presentation at this year's virtual Chaos Conf. We talk about chaos engineering on the show a fair bit. And if you do any kind of development, then you need this. It used to be for, people are talking about my wallpaper though. It used to be just for, like, you heard about Netflix with the Chaos Monkey going in and like randomly destroying stuff. But there are so many tools out there for doing chaos engineering now. There's Chaos Mesh, there's Litmus, there's a bunch of others. I don't use any of them because I don't do development. But if you have anything in a production environment, you need this. If you can get his actual talk, I recommend that you watch that instead of just reading this article. But for now, there's a lot of really good suggestions in the article that talk about an analysis model for so actually this is really good. The observability, the STPA model. So it's the business function, the control function that manages the business function, and then the human operators that watch over the control system. And he frames an approach to how to address reliability in your, whatever your environment is. We can apply it to Kubernetes clusters, we can apply it to anything at all. And then processes, similar to ITIL, processes where you can test and then respond and then test and make sure that you don't have a gap in what's going on. Thick, deep, juicy article, nice summary of his talk. If you have time to go watch the talk, and if it's available, then definitely go do that. The thing that I liked most about this is he closes by saying you should make it a badge of honor that you've passed your chaos engineering tests in your cluster. So gamify that as much as possible, and that's how you work towards continuous resilience. This is so appropriate, not only from the perspective of what he's talking about, but life in general. How we approach challenges in our lives frames so much about our stress levels, so much about just our outlook on life. You can look at a challenge and you could say, oh, I don't want to do this. This sucks. This is going to be so much work. And your brain's like, oh, okay. And it will create an environment that makes it difficult for you to succeed or difficult for you to move forward. Or you can gamify it like he talks about here. And you can say, this is something where, if I win, I get a reward, or make it something that's exciting where an obstacle is simply something to overcome and you feel good about yourself after you've overcome it. Anything in your life, whether it's yard work or painting or learning a new technology or studying for a test, figure out how to make it into a game and give yourself rewards, not just for passing the thing in 2 years or whatever, but rewards along the way so that your brain begins to thrive on challenge and on passing those challenges. We're at 8:50. I'm going to do one more thing, and then there's a bunch of stuff that I have to move to tomorrow because I have 2 things to talk about today. One before the tool of the day, and then the tool of the day, which is related. But first, do you remember when I was talking about Docker Swarm? And I said, okay, so some people still use Docker Swarm. Well, not so much. I mean, it's Stackshare, so it's not biased. But let's see. Docker Swarm, 619 people, 719 followers, and Kubernetes, 25,000. So yeah, some people use Swarm, but not in production environments. Kubernetes is a heavy lift, and it does require resources to maintain it, and it requires that you understand what it's doing. And so if you don't work in this space, then probably you don't need to learn it. But also, if you don't work in this space, why are you running containers in wherever it is that you're running them in? I don't know. Regardless of, this just says it all. You need to learn how to do stuff with Kubernetes, period. If you don't, even if you don't like it, even if you don't want to do it, not doing it is just hammering nails in the coffin of your career. You have to learn how to do this. And the next thing you're going to have to learn how to do is basic functionality around machine learning. But for now, if you're still stuck in Swarm land, the train's still in the station. You can still run and catch it. Kubernetes train. Choo-choo! This is fun. I talk about coincidences. I talk about the universal unconscious of the internet surfacing things at around the same time. Nuno wants to put Kubernetes on Swarm. Do it. JVias from VMware reached out to me last night. I got it this morning as a message on LinkedIn and brought my attention to this, which he said they're about to merge or they're about to finish working on. They've created a DSL, as you see here in the title, for better upstream test coverage of all CNIs. I read through this morning with my first cup of coffee, so that's how I roll. Jay, I asked him to just send me a few sentences about what this is so that I can talk about it intelligently. First of all, he works on upstream Kubernetes at VMware, and he has a goal, or his team has a goal, that all CNIs are easy to validate and compare. So he started the Network Policy Working Group to improve the uniformity for that objective. And I'll just read what he wrote. So he says, a lot of folks wonder whether their CNI actually supports network policies properly, and also what the effect of applying a policy is. Especially in large clusters, customers might be concerned that policies aren't applied quickly enough or that policies don't work the same between different CNIs. What they've built here gives a uniform visual representation of any bugs that you might have in a CNI provider, and also the test can easily be extended to verify the behavior of a specific policy which a user writes. And he asks if any of you use this and do that you please contribute it back to upstream. So ultimately, it makes it easier to switch CNIs knowing that the network policies are still rock solid. It sounds like a good thing. The existing E2E tests are more like smoke tests, which aren't readable by users. These ones output the exact truth table and JSON. Again, it allows users to really test their CNIs. And they're working on scale tests and more. This is... Mac wants to know if it's super difficult to talk without being able to see my audience. I see my audience. I see you right there, Mac. I'm talking to you. You're here, right there. This is a wonderful, wonderful document. The part of me that understands and appreciates complexity and specificity really, really, really appreciated this morning. They present their case for what they've created, including examples. I mean, it's huge. I'm not going to scroll through the whole thing, but including examples of like how the current tests make some assumptions about the environment. Like they don't actually test for a positive case before testing for a negative case. So they don't know when they run their test that the conditions that caused the test to pass or fail weren't already there. That's really important. The team behind this genuinely understand tests and how to have a controlled environment in which to actually apply the thing that you're testing. Yeah, so fantastic document. This is going to be merged soon. And Jay said he wants me to throw out a trivia question for you all. And you can, I'll actually, you know what? I'll put this in the community site. So community.cncn.io, scrolling across the bottom of the screen. I'll put this up there and yeah, just come and answer it. So the question is, do network policies work on self-connections? Come to the community site. You'll see that as a poll question later today. And, well, let me know. And finally, now, just in time for the end of the show, we move on to the tool of the day. Until such time as this DSL is merged, and even afterwards, if you are experiencing any sort of issue around network policy not working, this was brought to my attention yesterday by our very own Shipwreck. Hi, Jason. It's an older tool, but it does what it needs to do. So it's not the kind of thing that needs to be updated regularly with features. This tells you when IP tables is dropping packets and where and why. So if you put a network policy in place and it's not working and your traffic is not getting to where you need it to go, this tool can help you figure out why. So you got to set up some IP tables logging stuff so that you can filter it out. And it goes through the whole setup of how to get this up and running. This is kube-iptables-tailer, and it's from the fine people over at Box. Do you know Box? Box Inc. Waiting for the website to load. So Box builds tools and stuff for the real world, and I guess they had a problem with network policies. Network policies, like all firewall rules, I think it's really easy to write them and then have them not do what you thought they were going to do, which is why most of the time when I'm writing any type of debugging or when I'm actually doing development, which I don't do very often anymore at all, I don't start out with the assumption that what I created actually works. I start out with the assumption that what I created is horribly broken, and I debug my thought processes and my logic tree. And usually in the process of debugging my logic tree, I'll find some assumption that was totally incorrect. Like it might have been correct, but the X is always Y. Well, no, X sometimes might not be Y based on conditions that I didn't bother to think about. And probably that's a good way that I should approach relationships. Like it's really easy to become stuck in a world of exclusions. Oh my gosh, you guys and your jokes. Okay, fine. So that's it. It'll be fun tomorrow to find out if the internet crashes again at 8:55. We'll find out. Oh, the suspense is killing me. If you liked what you saw today, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, follow me in all of the places that one can follow. Links to everything I talk about on the show go up in the free community site at community.cncn.io after the show ends. Come join us. Community members get access to video replay and links and stuff a day before the rest of the internet. Membership is free, so why not? If you have something you'd like for me to consider for the show, please hit me up and let me know. Mention me in a post on the community site, ping me on Discord, Twitter. I woke up on LinkedIn yesterday and I started getting stuff on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, every time I go to LinkedIn, I spend like an hour like talking to people and I'm like, oh, I had work to do. That's it. Have a great day, everyone. Keep learning, stay caffeinative, and I'll see you in the next show. Bye. Oh, I hit the wrong button.